Welcome back to KleinForKansasCity.com. I'm Darron Story, along with mayoral candidate Henry Klein.
Yep.
And Henry, we've been talking about Bannister Mall, and as I told you earlier, Bannister Mall has a special place in my heart and a lot of Kansas City's heart.
Sure.
But there was some hope for something grand that was going to happen there, and it had something to do with our soccer team.
It did. The Wizards needed a new home, and here we have this blighted area, a really large area, well situated to highways and good access, etc. You would think this would have been the perfect thing to have put in there, or at the very least, it would have surely been a good thing to have put in there. And I think most of the community was actually fairly supportive of it. But you know, we kind of had some strange, convoluted twists that all of a sudden one day have produced a situation where now it's going to Kansas City, Kansas. So let me tell you a little bit about what happened. The first thing that was going to happen is that Overland Park was trying to pass a bond measure to put some soccer fields out there. Good idea, but this would not have in and of itself brought the Wizards there, but I think the Wizards' thinking was if the bond measure passed, then from there they could bolt on their Wizard Stadium. And you know, the thing about us here in Kansas City is we're really, really nice people. We let that thing happen. We knew we still wanted to do something with Bannister Mall, but we let Overland Park go first, try to do what they thought they could do, and that bond measure actually failed. So the Wizards said, okay, we're going to go look elsewhere. So they came to us and they said, all right, let's do something with Bannister Mall. And really the wheels of that were absolutely in motion, but the thing that you have to understand is that all of that development was predicated on almost $300 million that between state and local and TIF and all those kind of things that would have occurred were predicated on the fact that once the Wizards went in, they'd actually have to earn that revenue back so that it could pay for those bonds. So what happened? In Kansas City, Kansas, one of the retailers there, Nebraska Furniture Mart, came in and said, hey, and contacted the owners of the Wizards and said, hey, you can come to Kansas City, Kansas, and if you do that, you won't have to be responsible for the revenue that you need to generate because we're already generating that revenue over here. So they already had this situation where they could just slide the Wizards right in there. Now this meant that the Wizards weren't going to have to be on the hook for certain guarantees of certain types of income to come back in. And all of a sudden, we've actually demolished a mall, taken it apart completely, and we've lost the Wizards in their entirety. And it's, you know, I know there's discussion about what might happen there now, but frankly, it looks like there's really virtually no movement. So it's really, at this point, a sad thing, particularly to have people who are new to Kansas City or coming to visit or passing through off of one of our major arteries have to see what really is just a completely blighted area in Kansas City.
Yeah, it's a bad deal all the way around. But you know, one of the things about when people sometimes make mistakes, you know, there's other people that have maybe some ideas of what we could do.
Well, and in the next segment, why don't we talk a little about some other ideas about what we really could do with this area. And in some respects, as much as I really like the idea of putting the Wizards there really are some interesting alternatives.
Okay, we'll find out. I'm Darron Story.
And I'm Henry Klein, running for mayor here in Kansas City.
You're watching KleinForKansasCity.com.